So, all right, let's talk about the background first. We're coming back to this. So we have our first battleground. It's BOE, and when you look at the bans, it's actually a bit of a trend for the two teams because Leftovers now, for the third time in their third match, banned out Cursed Hollow, and we were looking at Tricked, they banned Braxis for the third time. So both of these teams clearly have a map that they don't want to play.
They clearly do not. Now, do we go back to the
yes, we
explanation?
definitely go back. So, how this exactly happened is, usually when teams scrim, they also ban that a lot. Like, there's a lot of chatting going on, you get a kill against someone, and the ban just flies. And when Tim and I were watching a scrim the other day, every couple of minutes, Rema would just, in all chat...
Hang on, first he would die, and then randomly type foot, and we're like...
I was like, what?
What's going on with this?
Nobody else did it. Usually they just meme back and forth, but Rema just like threw that word out the entire time, and so Tim was asking, what does it mean? And I was like, I have no idea. I even don't want to know. He's probably going to try and make it a thing.
And like, I'm shy with these two players still right now, but Kador, he encouraged me to reach out to Rimmer, and I'm like, Rimmer, okay, lay it on me. What's this foot thing mean? And he goes on this huge spiel about how he used to have a friend that if you get injured, apparently you would put your foot in water. And that way your foot would survive for a little bit longer. So the idea, I think, if I'm understanding this...
Oh, you have to amputate it?
Yeah, is if you get hurt, to prevent yourself from getting amputated in game or losing the game, you just put your foot in water, wait for you to respawn, and you're back in the game.
Okay, I bottom line this for you. It's not a thing.
It's a thing.
It's not a thing.
Okay, it's not a thing, but it's a thing. And it's going to be a thing. Every time someone on Tricked Esports dies today, I want to see the word foot.
Or get tricked. That
posted
works
somewhere.
As well.
Get tricked as well. Let's go ahead and hop into it, the draft. Stories aside, Tricked Esport with the first ban of the game. See what they're going to be taking out. They have really disliked Abathur as of late. Let's see if that changes lately.
Yeah, they had a huge ban ratio on him already, and I mean, this just continues here, as we can see. I want to say a few things about Leftovers, because the interesting part for me is that when we came into this, a lot of people talked about Lauba and how ETC is one of his trademark tanks, but if you look at their game so far, they haven't even played ETC, not even once. They have been playing Muradin and also Johanna quite a fair amount. Those are the two tanks that they go to, but it's just for me a bit curious that Leftovers with a tank that is hailed to be one of the best ETCs is not playing the hero whatsoever. They always fall back onto different heroes here. So outside of the tank discussion that might change today, when we look at our picks and bans here, first of all, both of the teams are insanely fast. Let's just throw that out right away.
Boom, boom.
But we have again Malfurion and Tracer as a combo, early on picked already by Leftovers, and Trick now going for Uther, who is the best support in win ratios right now. It is insane. Korea in particular plays him a lot. It's actually mainly North America where he sits below a 50% win ratio, but when we're looking at Europe, for example, he has played 8 games, he's 7-1. That leaves him with an 88% win ratio. I think in Korea he has even more games, he's currently sitting around 80%. Only in North America doesn't he do well.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing against Genjis, which has made it a little bit easier, but still, Uther coming in here and being devastating. Can Leftovers stop it? Last time we saw Leftovers play this Battleground, they showcased the double support Tracer gameplay against Fnatic and actually held their own pretty well until the late game against a Cassia double support composition. Will they go that route again? Already they have the double team up that we have seen proven to be great over and over again, the Malfurion and the Tracer. We'll see if they go down that route. And Tricked Esport needs to worry about that. Do we ban out a support? Last time we had the double support, it was a Tassiter that was brought in for the Tracer, but they elect to go ahead and get rid of Greymane for now.
Yeah, Greymane is, interestingly enough, the hero that is played by far the most, and that's true across all regions, but just to give you a bit of an idea, Greymane is currently played in 82% of all games in Europe. And that is not involvement rate talking about him being banned out. He's actually played in 82% of the games, which is absolutely crazy. Nobody else even comes close. We're talking a lot about Genji, about Hanzo, but they're getting banned out more than they see play. So Greymane is in a very interesting spot here for sure.
ETC and Arthas are picked up. This is a pretty strong front line for the Leftovers, but it also takes away the Arthas from Tricked Esport, which is something that we've seen a lot in the past from Alex Proji, especially when brought in with another tank.
This is also a pretty different style of how they are approaching this right now, because when we're talking about Leftovers, we just mentioned earlier that they had very different tank priorities thus far. Now we see ETC and we have them with Arthur as well. For both of these heroes, it's the first time that they actually are being played by the Leftovers. So after the recent losses that they suffered at the hands of their opponent, they changed things up quite a bit.
Blaze and Muradin will be the final pickups here for Tricked Esport. Blaze Bringing in that side pushing that we've been seeing. How will he fare on BOE? Is he more of a poke type of hero here? Feels like he'd be able to really control those chokes with the oil spills coming out, and Murden be the one to force the engages.
At this point, him being played by Tricked, I would expect him to just try and dominate the lanes first of all.
Yeah.
Alex had some pretty cool discussions with other players, Wubi being one for example, about how to probably play, which build to be used, and Alex is usually pretty comfortable with his builds once that he finds one. And also to give you a bit of an update on Blaze, if I'm not mistaken, he's currently sitting at a 3-0. He was played twice in Korea, and we've seen him played once by Dignitas, so at this point he's 3-0 in play. So
small sample size, but still a good start there for our Blaze. Tyke is coming in there as a 5th pickup. We mentioned that we expect to see him more and more with the double tank meta popping in here, and Europe is delivering. Leftovers showing off the Tychus.
And also Tychus, Stukov, Jaina, one of them, I'm just forgetting right now. They were played yesterday. Blaze, exactly, thank you. They were played in Europe yesterday for the first time, and all of them won their matches. So Tychus currently makes his appearance for the 2nd time in Europe, and he's at this moment sitting at a 100% win ratio. Again, only 1 game played so far, but it was interesting to see Europe shake it up yesterday a bit compared to the previous week.
I like both drafts here for both of our teams. You have Hanzo and Li Ming, which is great for poke against the Immortal. You have strong frontal, robust front lines for our teams, but then you also have Tracer on the opposing time for Leftovers. If Hanzo ever oversteps, you have that low health pool that can be a focus for the Leftovers to get a pick off. I actually really enjoy our first game here in this best of 5.
I have to say that I really like the adjustments on Leftover side.
Yeah.
We've seen how strong Tricked is, and Tricked is definitely a team, as we heard, that plans on going to offline events, so that they want to showcase their skill here. But if you watch the games of Leftovers last week, they already played on BOE, and they lost that map. So right now, they completely changed the way that they are drafting. They are looking at a very different front line and a very different composition. And I have to admit, I like it a lot what they're running here, way more than what we've seen in the previous week. And I feel that goes to show that they are adapting, and that's something that we wanted to see from them. Now that you are in HGC, now that you get the first-hand experience of actual league play, that you just take those lessons from the first few games and translate them into changes in week 2, and that's what they're currently doing.
Yeah, for me, do we get the Leftovers we saw last Sunday against Fnatic, or do we get the one we saw on Friday before? Let's go ahead and hop into it here as Tricked Esports taking on Leftovers. It'll be a best of 5 series. First to 3 gets the victory, and on the left, the honors are yours, Caldor.
On the left side, we have the Leftovers with Portiboss on Arthas, with Sible Kidney on Tychus, Lauber on ETC, one of his trademark heroes, Linked the support on Malfurion, and DAB on Tracer.
On the right side, in the red, Tricked Esports, Crosby coming in with a Hanzo, and watch out for his arrows. Make playing Li Ming, Grandpa Kit playing Uther, Alex the Pro G playing Blaze, and Rimmer will be playing Murden.
Now for both of these teams, this is their 2nd game on the Battlefield of Eternity. Tricked and Leftovers both lost the last time they played on this map. Both adjusted their style slightly, as you can see with the draft that comes in on the blue team for Leftovers. And also, of course, we have Blaze now in the game. As mentioned before, Blaze has seen across North America, Europe, and Korea 3 games so far, has won every single one of them. And at this point, Alex finds himself on the hero up at the top lane. We've seen a heavy focus on oil spill by Wubi on Dignitas. Tricked might change that build up a little bit, since Alex is known to have his own flavor for these new heroes.
A bit curious why we didn't get a grenade there to try and interrupt that Blaze from getting the disengage, but the idea was solid. Bring Tychus up and try to burn down that high health pool. Warrior that can be annoying in the top lane, but Tychus joins back on the 4-man down here on the bottom.
And we're going to keep a close eye also on the build that Alex uses, as we talked about it earlier. And I mentioned in the previous game where Dignitas played Blaze that especially the level 1 is very versatile for him. And that's also true in the series that we see here. You can adjust very well to what your opponent is doing. And in this particular game, Alex now goes for the Endurance Impact, which gives you an extra shield that you can activate. And that's a fantastic tool against Tracer in particular. So the talent choice is definitely an adjustment to what Leftovers are putting on the field. Once that Pulse Bomb comes out, we have Alex with a tool that helps him to survive and just mitigate the damage.
Which we're starting to see pretty often. Other heroes you can maybe consider that pickup against. Jaina, maybe if you get knocked down with a Blizzard, want to make sure that you're able to tank through and keep moving forward. Also, any high burst that could come your way. Things to consider when you're picking up that level 1, because it is quite versatile and you can pick a lot of the different options. Big engage down here on the bottom side between our teams. We'll have a 4v4. Lauber has to be important here on the ETC. Nice. Good route there to make sure that Tricked Esport could not engage. Lauber steps up and grabs a point.
Yeah, and of course now still Rema trying to stack his storm balls a bit for the quest. And up at the top lane we still see that battle with Blaze going up against Arthur's. And so far Blaze is faring pretty well. You can every now and then see the shield popping in as Arthur starts to engage into this. But it's gonna be an interesting mid-game because the front line that we see for Leftovers has an insane amount of control. With the CC that we have on ETC alone in combo with Arthur's and the follow-up through a Howling Blast, there's a lot of lockdown that Tychus, for example, can capitalize on, especially if he hits Mirrodin. So that's something where Trict's frontline needs to play very cautious. And I also want to see a bit how well DAB plays on Tracer, because this is definitely the hero that will try to dive into the backline for quick kills. And let's face it, Tracer has to pressure Hanzo to make sure that he is not able to put out too much damage in the series.
And luckily for Tricked, they have drafted and picked Talent's World to make sure that they're prepared for that dive that could be coming their way and the control that is set up for Leftovers. Murden probably going to take some damage from the Avatar, but he picked up the third wind at level 1, which will allow for him to grab that health back quicker and come back into the fight, which means they can rotate in between that Blaze and Murden whenever they need to come in. Now, the Immortals have spawned. We have some pressure on the bottom and pressure on the top, so they're dealing with that, but we should see some damage on the Immortals soon.
Yeah, and I'm extremely interested to see how the Leftovers perform today. It's definitely one of the most interesting teams that we had coming into HGC through the Crucible for a long, long time, especially since they dominated Open Division, but at this point they find themselves in trouble up at the top lane as Portiboss gets stunned once again and gets taken down. Nice go against Arthur's here by Trick, using the jet propulsion on Blaze as well after the storm pull to make sure that he was completely locked in place and the damage could be put in.
And that should open a window here for Leeming to come in and start poking on the Immortal. Leftovers already prepared for that. Has set up a defense. Lauber has used Power Slide, so Rimmer should be okay. He jumps away from the fight while Crosby comes in and applies a little bit more on top of the Immortal. But nothing too substantial. A nice quarter health. With the Arthas coming back, Trick Esports going to head back to lanes.
Yeah, the main objective for the Leftovers was to shield the defense so that they can wait for Arthas to come back into the fight. With level 4 talents now in play, we also have again Adhesive Petroleum taken for Blaze. So that's a talent that has also been picked up by Wooby when he played the hero. So we already can tell that it's all about the slows here. Oil spills are pretty important. The level 7 is going to be interesting. Wooby still went straight into the oil spill talents, but we have talked a lot about potential auto attack as well. Portiboss getting jumped again at the top. And that's really Trick just stacking their stuns, having the Storm Ball, having the jet propulsion, and also Uther stun. And they take out Arthas for the second time in a row. Yeah,
Portiboss is hurting on there. It's going to get easier for him to hit level 7 when he gets that Icebound Fortitude. Now he'll be able to maybe take some of that damage. The lack of mobility is something that Tricked Esport is really targeting. And so far, it's netted them 2 kills and a little bit of damage on the Immortal. They are in the lead, almost to the halftime show. The Leftovers continue to play defense well with this 4v5. They will miss a big wave of experience. Oh no, ETC getting jumped.
Yeah, Trick just playing this absolutely fantastic right now, and Blaze gets the kill against ETC as Li Ming with the reset jumps straight on Murden and takes him out too. This is a chance for Trick to get the first Immortal here, trying to go straight for it. Halftime show already won, and the Leftovers are starting to fall behind. Half a level behind Trick Esports, and also without a single kill yet.
And with Malfurion being down for a little bit longer, Trick will use the opportunity to go ahead and work on the Immortal. Rimmer positioned in a great spot to make sure nothing will come disturb his allies. And that will be the first Immortal of the game, going straight over to Trick, and they have over half health, 10,000 shield points set up and ready to go.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those things that are starting to become a little bit dangerous, since you can start and snowball this pretty heavily. If Leftovers get a kill now, that would be great, but DAB is in trouble. He's low and he goes down. Tracer eliminated. Portiboss is being chased. And if another combo hits with Maka already trying to go in, then this would be the end of Arthas again. And it is another kill for Tricked as they take the 6-0 lead in kills over the Leftovers.
Aggressive play from Leftovers, but why did they go for that play? Because they have Tychus and Tracer, who in terms of defense isn't the greatest when dealing with the Immortal. In their mind, okay, we can get a couple kills here, that'll make defense easier. The problem is it backfired, and now Trick Esports opens up the bottom lane. They're at level 10, and they have a chance to go for a keep wall, maybe a keep.
Yeah, they can do a ton of damage here now, and it just shows again how much more tryhard Tricked is this season. They've been talking about it. They talked about how they want to be still the team that enjoys playing as a unit, that has a lot of fun together as a group, but how they have higher goals now than they did last year, and it already shows. Alex with the Incinerator Gauntlets on level 7 is in a position where he can also provide all the wave clear that they need on the solo lane, but this push alone with level 10, with the Immortal, is so powerful that they can easily burst through the wall at the keep and can put some damage onto the keep itself now too.
Level 10 has not been picked for Blaze yet. If he gets the engage he wants, he can go straight into combustion, but if he dies too far, he can move into a bunker. Nice save there from Alex and Proji. Blackeney taking some damage.
That was actually very close, because Lauba in that position, if he gets hit by the jet propulsion as well and gets stunned, he's down. And Alex hasn't even taken his level 10 yet.
No, he has not. Still waiting for it. Trying this side if he wants to move into it. Can be more of a game changer at the last second if he picks the correct heroic in a certain scenario. The keep continues to be poked, and they still have time here to keep the poking. With Alex and Proji on that Blaze clearing the wave, they have easy poke between Hanzo and Li Ming.
Yeah, they have definitely a lot, and the 10 isn't there yet, so they're trying to use that window to get the first keep of the game pre-10 minutes. And it's looking good for them right now, but Li Ming not hitting, and with 10 coming in for the leftovers, we are seeing Trick retreat for now.
Trick Esport was looking for a kill a few times there. I kind of wish they would have put a little bit more damage on the keep, but you could see the wheels turning. Okay, if we can get a kill here, definite keep. Leftovers playing defense well, making sure not to get caught out, buying time for Potibus to get that level 10, and they save their keep.
Yeah, and I also want to put a little bit of context into Blaze and the build that Alex has been playing. So he found himself in a solo lane against Arthas, and Arthas currently has the most siege damage on the side of the leftovers with 37,000. If you look at Blaze and the build that he's running here, we see Alex at 62,000 siege damage. That is a third more than what we have on Arthur's side, so 20,000 more. And this is 8 minutes into the game, 8-9 minutes into the game. So the amount of siege damage that Blaze can put out, the amount of wave play, is really one of the biggest assets that the hero can bring to the table.
Yeah, a lot of people have been comparing him to a tanky Zool, which is something you can really kind of see once you see those numbers popping up. Trick Esport now in a position where they're above their opponent, poking a little bit. Don't want to fight too much here. They are on even footing with their opponents. But if the opportunity presents itself, we'll see Rimmer move in for an engage and try and get a pick.
Yeah, and of course with the setup as is right now, the 13 is something where Trick could once again get another Immortal if they get that experience. Jet Propulsion comes in, great follow-up immediately by Marke with another combo. Lauba jumps in, but can't really do anything at this moment in time. We have the camp still pushing the lanes. Trick is reacting to it, using Alex on Blaze to de-push the bot lane, but we still have a bit of pressure against the leftovers top lane in the meantime.
That was still really well played by Trick Esport. They faked like they wanted to go for a hard engage, but didn't burn any heroics, and made sure to get their teammates away from that Malfurion route. The stage dive came in, because Lauber has to. You have to potentially fight that, which allowed for the top lane to keep pushing in. Trick Esport will now hit 13, and now they have a heavy advantage.
Yeah, Alex has taken combustion, by the way, so he went straight for the talent here. One of the things that we will see in the team fights. And I just want to update you a bit on that siege damage. Alex is on 82,000. That is doubling the 41,000 that Potibus has on Arthas right now, as he is the hero with the highest siege damage on the side of the leftovers. So it really shows you what Tim meant earlier. Alex himself just calls Blaze straight up. He's more or less Zool. He's basically the same thing.
If anybody knows who Zool is, it's definitely Alex Proji. Big Dragon Arrow, big engage. DAB on the right side trying to stay alive, but Potibus and crew not so lucky. Make moving in, bringing in those procs, and he'll get a few resets, taking out 4 members of leftovers.
Absolutely insane. Hanzo with the Dragon Arrow, jet propulsion comes in, combustion immediately being used, and then Marke is just firing away from the backside, gets the resets, jumps in with Calamity and takes them down one after another. 4 heroes eliminated within 1-2 seconds, and Trick Esports with 10 kills against 0. And 1.5 level lead at this point, looking absolutely fantastic.
And leftovers leave empty-handed. Their Immortal barely scratched, meaning that the Tricked Esport team will be able to group up as 5 with a massive Immortal and push in the top lane. They are electing to come down to the bottom side now to work on this keep that's already low, and they can threaten the core if they get a pick. Potibus might be in trouble. Potibus, he's down.
That setup is just absolutely insane. Jet Propulsion as a second stun allows Trick to go for so many isolation kills here. It's absolutely fantastic. Good cleanse coming out as Rema finds himself in trouble. Tries to move away here, still a bit low, waiting for his trade to kick in. But there's still potential for Trick to get another kill. And keep in mind, the Immortal is busy at the top lane during all of this.
Exactly. What's the best defense that leftovers have? They have Tychus on the Odin, and he had to be in the bottom side, maybe in a fight, which allowed Trick Esports to allow that Immortal push in. And the moment Odin goes back to defend the Immortal, they take the keep easily. Great shot calling here by Trick Esport.
Yeah, and now they are pressuring core, and that will force leftovers to defend the core, which is just another tool that they can use now to give the Immortal more time to get another keep. So one way or another, they're going to walk away with a huge advantage here. DAB is already so low here, getting chunked down the entire time. The Immortal is still alive, still working on the keep itself, and it will fall. Both keeps eliminated as Tricked Esports has a 3.5 level lead over their opponent. 16 talents before leftovers even get control of their level 13.
Leftovers looking like they're in a really gruesome position. Can they hold against Tricked Esport? A combo comes out from Li Ming, missing out as DAB is able to dodge it. The core shields are getting lower, but leftovers are gonna have to force the issue, and they do. Stage dive, straight in. Lobber goes for the power slide, gets the knockback. Gonna have Uther in the root. We do have members low. Link getting poked on the side. Finally, he will fall, but Hanzo falls for Tricked Esport.
Kill for a kill. There goes Tracer, but Li Ming is also eliminated. The Divine Shield was already out a bit earlier as Tracer dove in for the first time. Alex is getting body blocked by Boss, and this time the slow could work out for them. Alex with the jet propulsion gets out, but Grand Paquette, he is still caught by the Frozen Tempest. Lauber trying to go for Mirrodin right now. They're attempting to at least get another kill, and they do against Uther. Moving in against Remaballer, but he just turns around and drops Tychus.
Keeping the hammers up. He will have a jump up soon. Drops down the big. AoE heal. Able to live for now, and Rimmer will disengage. However, losing the damage dealers early for Tricked Esport did hurt. Leftovers get some experience out of that. 14 3/4 on their way to 16, but still hurting.
Pretty fantastic play overall by Tricked. They lost a few heroes here, and this is one of the things where you have to be a bit cautious. Tricked is so far ahead that it doesn't necessarily make a difference anymore, but if you find yourself 2-3 levels ahead and your opponent is able to kill 3-4 heroes, that nets them a massive amount of experience that would allow them to close the gap and potentially come back into the game. As is, Tricked is still so far ahead that it doesn't make a big difference for the next Immortal, since it's very unlikely that leftovers will be able to pick up their level 16, and with 2 keeps gone, the leftovers already find themselves in a pretty precarious situation. But still, Tricked is doing a lot of work here. 14 kills against 3. And I love just these setups that we have with Blaze and the jet propulsion, the extra stun, and also the stuns on Uther, Mirrodin, and of course Hanzo with his ult.
Well, thanks to the couple of kills, leftovers do have an option here. Let the Immortal go down a halftime show and spend their time soaking in experience as much as they can, and try to get the defense on the next Immortal phase. But they are still a quarter away. You mentioned it. It would be very rough for them to get to 16.
This is Tricked's game to lose at this point, because Tricked can play for time. They don't even have to fight, but they're engaging into it before 16 is hit by the leftovers. They're trying to decide this earlier. Here comes again the jet propulsion. Combustion used immediately. They catch Arthas, and down he goes. Massive amounts of damage coming from Li Ming in particular. Blick Kidney also being followed here. Lauber isolated. Market jumps out there trying to lock him into place, but he escapes. DAB in the backline doing whatever he can against Hanzo, but overall leftovers are just struggling and desperately looking for an opportunity to get a kill themselves.
Tricked Esport identified that Tracer had been popped out, and we had Odin in the formation of being involved into with the heroic being popped. So immediately afterwards, they just focused the target. They grabbed Arthas, and with the stage dive coming in, Lauber is looking for a fight. They know that the next Immortal is going to be game over. They have to find something, but Tricked doesn't give them the chance.
And their core, leftovers core is being attacked. That's why Tricked has time advantage, because they are in a position where they can let the lanes push out against their opponent, and that's what they're doing at the top lane. So we had Arthas moving in after he gets revived, and this is a 5 versus 4 still in the middle, and Lauber goes down, and that's what Tricked is looking for. The quick kill here, making sure that again they find themselves in an advantageous position. Link now also being attacked, Crosby jumping over the debris, taking him down. 100% shield Immortal. This is game. Tricked is moving in. 5 versus 3. Immortal on the way. There is no chance for leftovers to hold this.
Tricked Esport will march proudly straight to the core. Even Tracer messing with the wall on the right side of the map here, knowing that it is over. Leftovers tried in the last couple of matches to get some team fights, but Tricked does not give them the opportunity. Identifying where they need to make sure they didn't die. Another pick on Odin possibly here in the top right corner, but this game is certainly over. Bus doing his best here on Make. Should be able to get away with the help of Grandpa Kid.
Yeah, the Immortal itself is just going to take the core down. It hasn't even arrived in. The core is already low to 74. Uther dies, but at this point, here comes the Immortal, and this beast is just going to chunk the core down and eliminate leftovers in game number 1. Victory for Tricked Esports in very dominant fashion. 17 kills against 5.